Hello everyone, we are continuing the 5-box doll haul I received in the mail. And like so many boxes before, they sent a shitload of stamps. And this doll had to come in 2 boxes because it was so complex. And this eyeball looks like it's got a defiant pupil like the zoo. Anyone remember that series? Okay. When I first saw this extra stuff, I'm like, why did it come with glue? I've never had a doll come with glue before. Anyway, this is the Dollzone Nana or X Nana Robotica or something like that. It was a collaboration doll with a Chinese name I can't pronounce. It's very reminiscent to D-Lace. I'm not sure if that's the artist that collaborated or not, but they look similar. Anyway, this doll came in 2 versions. It's the version I got, and then they had a halfling version, which was just as cute, and I wanted that one too, but budget constraints. And this base, it feels weighted, like they deliberately put weight inside the resin. And on another note, I want to mention, this doll is not a beginner doll. This doll has so many pieces. I mean, everything on this doll comes apart. It reminds me kind of like a garage kit. Anyway, with that being said, this video is a little on the longer side. I ended up just like cutting it off at the end because it was getting way too long. But I figured people would want to see how to put this doll together or take it apart, because there are no instructions whatsoever. So if you have this doll and notice something I missed or made a mistake on, I would be incredibly happy to soak in your knowledge. And here's the head and its many parts. I sped this part up because it was kind of long and tedious, but if you need to know more about this head, you can just pause the video or rewind it and fast forward until you know how to put it together and all that good stuff. And like I mentioned before, there are no instructions whatsoever for this doll that I found, so I was figuring all this stuff out on the fly. Like at first, I didn't even know the bottom jaw came off the head cap part either, and it just falls off. And like you can see me struggling with this headpiece, it wiggles, so I know it comes off, but I can't quite get it off because it's really like latched on there, but it comes off. See, there we go. And now the head is completely disassembled. I didn't find any more like parts you could remove and all that good stuff. And now I will reassemble it. And these pieces here, they are part of the chest pieces. They go over the boobies. Now this little baggie's the can of worms of the doll. This is the heart that goes in the middle of the chest when you open it up. And I'm pretty sure this is probably 3D printed. And I have no idea why it's pre-painted. Maybe they printed it in red resin, I don't know. Now these little fuckers is why they included the glue. You'll see later where they go, and I don't understand why they just didn't like mold them onto the main pieces instead of doing it separately where you have to glue them on. And these little pieces are alternative over-the-shoulder boulder holders. They feel very thin, very fragile, and they feel like they'd be easily broken, just like my emotions. And at first, I had no idea what this little frickin' doodad was. And again, we'll figure out where that goes later. And these huge pieces are part of the little tutu. And guess what? They also come apart. Imagine. By the way, the entire time I'm tugging on all this shit, I'm wondering if it actually comes off or if I'm gonna break it. Now, this part, the base of the stand, definitely feels like they added weight to it. It is heavy, but I suppose it needs to be so the doll doesn't fall over. You know, as I'm going along, taking the stuff apart and putting it back together, the amount of stuff that comes apart, I'm just like, why? Now, this part, as I am about to demonstrate, it is easier, or the only way actually, is to put the two smaller pieces together first, and then put them down all together onto the main base. Pro tip. Okay, that was everything in that box. The base is fully assembled. Now we can move on to the other box, which contains the main doll. And this COA is pretty neat. It is fully metal and has cut out little words on it. Doll Chateau and Dollzone are known for giving metal certificates of authenticity with their limited edition dolls, which is pretty cool, but be careful not to bend them. Don't steal my number. When I was looking at this doll to buy, I wondered if the fingers were jointed. Turns out they actually are. Awesome! They look very breakable though. And as you can see by this tube coming off her arm, there are a lot of little parts that come off, as I mentioned earlier. Her faux pas comes off. Now the giant screw in her back, that's where the stand screws into. And I really didn't find anything that came off on the back. And like that little knee piece, why did that need to come off? That's just another part to lose. And this chest piece, it's supposed to open and like stay open with some like little levers on the inside. But like the springs they used on this are so overpowered, it is very hard to get this chest open. And it's even harder to keep it open. Even the little levers on the inside that flip upwards don't really keep it open because it's so springy. And this tiny little nut goes on one of the little levers that flip up to keep the chest open. And that thing is hard to get in there. I can't get it in there. So I guess it's just gonna be floating around forever. And this is where the nut's supposed to go, up there, and then that is also where the lever is. It's hard to see though. The ankles and stuff, they don't move at all, so yeah. And to put this on the base, you put the heels inside the little groove on the bottom of the base. But I feel like the heels are a little bit thin for that, and I'm afraid they're gonna like snap off. And here I'm just kind of loosely assembling everything so you can kind of see where things go. And at this moment I figured out where all those little resin pieces go. They go into the embellishments on the doll. Again, I don't see why they couldn't have molded these onto the doll. I don't really know much about casting or molding. Maybe it made the process easier. I don't know. In any case, it's like a scavenger hunt trying to figure out where they actually go. Now this piece goes into the opening of the head, and this is for like holding the faceplate up so you can see inside of the head. But as for the bottom piece, I'm not quite sure where that attaches to. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm pretty sure right here is the correct orientation, but again, this bottom part, I can't quite see where it's supposed to go. I don't know. And then I try to break everything. Typical. But yeah, these two parts, they just like hook onto the side pieces that I'm trying to hook it onto. And I think that's all the little weird parts. And I think that's the only thing left to assemble. Yeah. And that's it for this video, which was a long one. If you stuck with me till the end, put a little fist bump emoji in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching, and there's more to come in the future.